means we can basically rear 150 calves with only one person. It's cut down on a labour unit, so it means the guys can go off and do other things rather than have to come over here and feed the calves.
The feeder has just paid for itself in 2 years. We did the maths prior to buying it, and I said I could pay for it in 2 years, and it proved to be correct. It's cut down hugely on time I spend with the calves, feeding the calves. It used to take me 2 to 3 hours morning and night. Now half an hour to an hour max.
What it does, it allows you to go to the calf shed in your own time, as opposed to having to be there at the end of milking, which we used to have to do to get the milk at the right temperature.
Yeah, we milk 305 cows at our anyway, predominantly Friesian cross-herd. With cow weights probably 550 kgs. We calve in the spring from 10th of July on, and farm production the last couple of years has been around 420 kgs milk solids a cow. We rear 90 calves roughly, 90 heifer calves that is, on our feeder, plus last year was another 30 bull calves. Within a week they're on the feeder. We like to get them to 95 to 100 kgs before we wean them, with cleaner calves and meal. And this last season we got majority of our calves to that weight in 7 weeks.
The feeder has just paid for itself in 2 years. We did the maths prior to buying it, and I said I could pay for it in 2 years, and it proved to be correct. The cost of not needing extra staff, no sickness, no sick calves.
In 2 years we've had no calves die that have been on this machine.
No sick calves, so no vet bills for the calves through the machines. Yeah, so it wasn't hard to pay for itself, and also by being able to put the extra calves through that I wouldn't have even contemplated previously because of the work I had to put in and the time involved to rear those extra calves. It's cut down hugely on time I spend with the calves, feeding the calves. It used to take me 2 to 3 hours morning and night. Now half an hour to an hour max. So that's freed me up to be in the shed through the peak of the season when we're calving. So cut down on labour costs.
And we use cholesterol mainly, and last year we would have taken probably 2,000 litres of milk out of the vat for our calves. So that's a big saving.
So how many hours a day do you dedicate to calf rearing?
Couple, maybe? I don't know.
And how does that compare to previous years?
6 or 7 in the peak.
No, probably an hour and a half a day, because quite often you don't come in the afternoon. I check maybe before I go home just to make sure everything's working right.
But I mean, just in feeding the calves, I've cut down huge. It used to take me a good couple of hours to feed all those calves manually, at least, if not more. And now it doesn't take me any time because I don't have to do anything. I come in and I check the machine, I hose out the concrete area because it is closed out at least twice a day through the peak. And it just takes, I don't know, 10-15 minutes. It's not a big deal, really. The reason we bought this particular brand was that it fed colostrum. We didn't see any point of having to buy milk powder when we had colostrum on hand that we could do the calves on. They come in here at 4 days old, and you've just got to be able to walk away and leave them to it. I put the first group on of about 10, and once they're trained, the rest just follow suit virtually. The key, I can't say it enough, is to actually walk away and let them do it by themselves. The more you fuss and finick around with them, the harder it is to get them onto the machine, because they're looking for you to feed them, because I do actually feed them for the first 4 days.
What was your first initial reason for looking at automation?
Cost of extra staff, and also if it stopped sickness, that was going to be huge in vet bills, and yeah, it's proved to be both.
Try and get the calves at a even weight, then, because you're going to have big calves, they'll drink more than little calves, so they miss out. Now our calves, if you have a look at the mob, it's more even weight, and because we weigh every week, we wean every week too. So the big ones go off every week once they get to 95 to 100 k's.
Yep.
having the complete setup is the vat with the chiller, and that is it just makes it so easy.
So from a training and learning perspective, being automation, how did you find the transition from manual carving to automation?
Oh, the calves went on straight away.
No problems.
But for yourselves?
Yeah, easy. I mean, if you're open-minded to the technology, yeah, you can't really go wrong. It's not hard to learn. I mean, I had plenty of support. I had great support from Balbooth, and it was only a phone call if I got stuck. And if he couldn't help me over the phone, he was here in no time, so it wasn't really a problem.
And like if we go away or something, staff can do it. It's not hard for staff to just keep the vat topped up with milk and check to make sure everything's going right.
I mean, I know the system so well now, I can even talk the staff through whatever while I'm away, so it's
simple.
It's not hard, yeah, it's not hard. This year coming will be our 4th season, I think.
Or extra heifers to sell we had. And we have a big feed pad which we feed probably 2 tonne of supplements to our cows over the season, maize and palm kernel.
No, it hasn't been problematic at all. Do it all again. It's like that old saying. Happy wife, happy life. Same deal.
We don't.
Buy a cow feeder.
Hi, I'm Tony Headley. We have employed contract milkers on both farms, and like with most things, you find that some are very good at calf rearing and others aren't so good. We always felt that there was certainly room for improvement in terms of less deaths and better weights with the calves. In putting up the new calf rearing shed, we decided the opportunity was there to go to the automated system. It made sense to me to have all the calves together in one pen as opposed to having to have 20 calves to a pen. What it does, it allows you to go to the calf shed in your own time, as opposed to having to be there at the end of milking, which we used to have to do to get the milk at the right temperature. Now it doesn't matter if we don't get there till midnight. We can just turn the lights on and go through the calf list and see what hasn't fed. And number one for us has always been about the calves themselves, is the quality of calves that the calf feeder is producing.
What advice would you have for other farmers that were contemplating automating their calf operation?
My feeling is go for it, provided if you are disappointed with the calves you've currently got, then it is one way of ensuring you get very good quality calves.
Here we find what we consider to be the best installation to date in New Zealand. This is the Forsyth's new calf shed. Planning to rear up to close to 200 calves in the autumn and around about 100 in the springtime. Stainless steel vat with chiller attached. And the new addition that we've brought in this year is a water vessel dedicated solely to the calf feeder. So any farm issues on farm will never be related to water pressure or water going out at any time.
My name's Jane Forsyth and we farm on Kawa Mountain Dairies. We milk about 1,000 cows. We do split calving, so about 550 in the autumn and 350 in the spring. I manage the farm. We have about normally 5 other workers. And this year we decided to build a new calf shed and put in a Balbooth Holman system.
So what do you believe are the main features and benefits of the calf feeder that you've seen since you've had it in?
Means we can basically rear 150 calves with only one person. It's cut down on a labour unit, so it means the guys can go off and do other things rather than have to come over here and feed the calves.
And from a training perspective, how did you find the transition into the automation side of things?
The calves just go straight on, they don't know any different, so just show them the teat once and they generally get the hang of it.
Yeah. And what about for yourself and learning on the machine?
I found it easy. But again, it's a generation I'm from as well, but it's fairly simple and yeah, easy to learn.
So just compared to previous years when you've done calf rearing, how many hours a day would you be spending now compared to previous seasons? Have you seen a difference there?
Yeah. Previous seasons I probably would have spent maybe 3 hours, 3.5 hours doing calves, and now it's more like an hour of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I know you've only been doing it for a month, but any advice on what you'd offer to any other farmers that were considering automating their calving operation?
Just to make sure you set it up right, look around at other calf sheds, and don't get flies in your back.
Yeah. This is all the pasture access the calves have from the Homelau calf feeder. Extra shelter for the calves. This is where they take them through and pen them in order to weigh the calves manually. And this is their shed, so an old sheep shed with a lean-to built out the side, which houses all 4 stalls. And as Linda stated, they did over 300 calves spring of 2012.
Hi, I'm Linda MacDonald. We have 2 farms. This is the smaller of the 2, 300 acres, and we have another farm of 700 acres. The aim is to do 300 calves in spring and at least 100 in autumn, so we can take 200 of those through and kill them as between 2 and 3 year olds. The last spring we did 300, and we feed them on milk powder, which has been particularly easy. Probably about half of the ones that we've got from the farms, directly from the farms, have been between a week and 2 weeks old, and they seem to have a transition to milk powder very easily. And you bring them in, those bigger ones, I've had many of them, haven't even been introduced to the machine at all. They've just come in, run in, found a feeder, fed, and I never see them again. They transition well and they go on and they're beautiful calves. I've had it set up so I've been weaning the calves according to how many days they've been on the machine. We'll change that this coming year and the calves will all be weighed and they'll be weaned according to their weight this time. We went to automation simply for a labour, to free up a labour unit. My son's been doing the calves and it's been a full-time job for him to do 250 calves. He's been milking a few cows and feeding the calves on whole milk, and the whole process has taken an awful lot of time through the spring. Having a second farm now, he's been tied up with an awful lot of initial work trying to get the new farm cleaned up. It was bought in a fairly run-down condition, so he's had a lot of time taken up with that, and having an automated system means that I can actually do these calves plus work a full-time job.
Why did you choose the Bell Booth system over others on the market?
Probably quality. From all the research I did, there seemed to be, well, there was definitely better customer service. I got better answers. It seemed to have the ability to do more calves. I had the impression that it had better backup. Maybe it was the salesmanship. But if looking at the other systems, it definitely seemed to have an edge on the other systems. It just seemed to be far superior. When you're investing that type of money, you may as well go for the best you can find rather than trying to compromise. Probably the greatest benefit was once the calves had been introduced to the machine and I had gone through dealing with the calves that were having transition problems, I was then freed up completely. I could come down, have a quick check. It would take me maybe 15 minutes in the morning to have a quick check, fill the machine up with milk powder, and I went to work and didn't worry about the calves for the rest of the day. once the last lot, and doing 300 was quite an amount because we had to do them in batches, and I had fresh ones coming on all the time for about 10 weeks. But once that last lot were through, and I think the last lot left me with about 110 calves in here, but that last lot, once they were actually on the machine, it was 15 minutes at either end of the day, and I just didn't worry about them. They just looked after themselves. It just freed up so much time. Probably one of the biggest benefits I've found with the machine though is I could tell right at the beginning if a calf was short feeding that it was having a transition problem or it had a health problem, and I could pick up the health problems far faster, and I believe that I probably saved more calves from rotavirus problems or just digestive problems simply because of the timing issue. I just caught them faster.
And from a training or learning perspective, how did you find the transition onto automation?
It was a breeze. We had a bit of training here, but the machine is very easy to follow. The handbook is extremely thorough. There's no gloss or glitz in the handbook. It tells the story of the operation the way it is. There was somebody at the end of the phone if I needed somebody. The response to get answers was enormously fast. I just felt that going from no automation to automation was very, very easy. We had actually put in the budget that we would be able to handle a few extra calves that would give us a payback period of 3 years. I would say that we're pretty much on target for that, so that's what we said we'd do, 3-year payback, and I'm pretty sure that's what we will do.
If you were talking to other farmers regarding they were considering automation, what would be your advice to them?
Definitely look into it further and look at what that labour unit is costing you for the person that's doing the calves right now. I think you probably will find that it's costing a little more to rear calves than you would expect. Just do the sums properly. There's a few things that we would change about the design of our shed, because we are tacked onto the side of a wall shed, and I think that those people that have the advantage of being able to build a shed specifically for this will find that the whole operation is much easier. But I don't think there's many changes that I'd make. I'm actually looking forward to the next season.
This is where they bring the new calves on a daily basis, teach them by hand to drink, learn to suckle before they introduce them to the machine. Once they've learnt to suckle, they go into the first learning pen, which gives them access to one stall only. Once they've got their hang of that, they put them into the next pen, which actually gives them access outside as well. And again, only access to one stall. Once they've fed themselves more than 2 or 3 times, they then place them into the last pen, which has access to 2 stalls, and again they have access outside to their own pasture. Once outside, calves have access to grass, obviously, meal, and this time of the year, plenty of sunshine.